Hi. Okay, so it is Monday the 27th. I have a bug in my room, so if I'm like swatting, that's why. And today we're going to be going over all things Google Streak. Y'all, this took me a hot minute to get, but I am telling you, it has been a complete game changer in my business. And so I'm going to kind of take you back to what I was doing and what kind of made me want to make the switch and how I went about doing it, what my pipelines are, what my processes are. So this is going to be a little bit longer of a call, but it's going to be a lot of information. So just bear with me. All right. Let me mute. I'm going to do speaker view. Can everybody just make sure you're muted too, so I don't have any voices? Okay, so before what I was doing, and I had really no follow-up system. And so I had this notebook, and I still utilize my notebook, don't get me wrong, but it was not very, especially the volume I was doing it at. So I send roughly 60 invites every other day. At the beginning of my business, I sent them every single day, but now I send 60 about every other day. And so I was just writing on this notebook, lining it from 1 to 60. You can see there's stars next to the ones that would respond, and then cross through the ones that had coaches. It really just was a hot mess express. And it worked for the time being for my business at that spot it was in. But whenever you're trying to scale and you don't want people to fall through the cracks, which I was feeling like I had people falling through the cracks every single day. Oh my God, this is gonna annoy the crap out of me. I'm sorry. I was letting people fall through the cracks every single day. And so I felt like I wasn't being as efficient as possible. And I was kind of just running around in circles. And I'd go back to messages that I'd sent people the price. And if you guys can get an amen on this one, you'd send someone the price and they totally ghost you and you forget who you sent that price to, so you can't follow up with them. And so this gave me a way to be able to know at what stage every single person was in, how I was able, so it made me be able to plan my day according. And so as you guys watch my live, I bought a daily planner so I can plan, okay, so I'm going to work on this pipeline for this 30 minutes and this pipeline, and this all makes sense in a little bit, but what I have found with being successful, you have to have a plan and you have to have a system. And if you don't have a system that's working efficiently for you, for so long I was paper and pen. I don't know technology. I don't want to tell you guys how many YouTube videos to try to figure out Google Streak, and so I'm going to try to make this as easy as possible on you guys. But again, if you guys don't understand something or I don't explain something that works for you guys, don't feel bad going to YouTube and say Google Streak training, because tons of amazing coaches have them out there for you. And so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we're going to get to the nitty-gritty. So we're going to start with how to get it on. And so I'm going to pick this one. This bug won't leave me alone. All right, so let's do here. Y'all, this bug is annoying the crap out of me. Perfect. Okay, so here we go. We are going to, first, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you are using Google Chrome, because Streak does not work on like Safari or Windows or something like that. So you want to first make sure that you're using Google Chrome, which you all should be using Google Chrome because that's what our back office works the best on anyways. And so that's the first step, is make sure you are using Google Chrome. Let me pull this. Hold on, let me open this door. Maybe this bug is going to fly out. Sorry, guys. I'm so organized. Okay, so first you're going to want to make sure you use Google Chrome. Then you are going to download it. So first you'll go to Google and you'll go to Google Streak and come down here. And so you'll click this and it'll say download Streak or something like that. But since I already have it, it's just going to show, so it's not going to really let me do it. So that's the first thing you're going to want to do, is download the Google Streak. And so once you download that, sorry, you see my shopping. You're going to want to go to your Gmail account. So go to gmail.com. And here is this. So you'll go over here and you'll see something called pipelines. So pipelines is every single one of your kind of like businesses, I would say. And so here are some of the pipelines that I've established. Again, what works for me and my messed up brain might not work for you and your functional brain. I do things weird. I'm just a weird person. And so maybe the pipelines that I have and stuff might not work the best for you. And so what I have is I have a coach prospect pipeline. So anyone that I talk to about coaching or goes into my sneak peek or goes, you know, I message about coaching or I'm establishing, they fill out my coaching application, they go into that pipeline. And then I also have a coach or a boot camp prospect. So that's anybody I've invited to challenge groups or anybody that I have reached out and invited, have any conversation, or perhaps someone that filled out an application. I'm trying to find the person here. Okay, so that's anyone like that. And again, we're gonna get more deep into this. I just wanna kind of go over the baselines. The third one I have is my current boot camp clients. And so what I was finding is I was signing a ton of people and not being able to follow up with them adequately. And so I have them all in my current boot camp. And I switch them as if they go inactive or if they go to a different one of my boot camps or something like that. And so we're going to start with how do you add a pipeline? And so first you're not going to have any of this over here. So you're going to go over here to new and click new. You're going to have tons of different options on what kinds of pipelines you can create. It really doesn't matter because we're going to change them. But so right here, you can pick, and it might just be easier to pick a blank one. And then private, you can share it, whatever. And so here we go. So this is what it's going to look like when you create a blank one. You're like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. Perfect. That's great. Let me pull it over here so I can make sure I stimulate it perfectly to it. And if you guys have any questions throughout this, please put them in the chat. I'm going to save about 15 minutes at the end so we can go over all the questions, or I might even look periodically so we can go over it all. So here we go. I'm going to come over here. Why is this not working? Perfect. All right, so what you're going to do to be able to add a stage. So the stages is what stage you want each of your clients to be in. So these are the stages that I have. Again, you do not have to utilize the stations I have, the stages. I changed them so much just to go with the season of my business. And so I'll show you how to create them. I'll show you the ones I have right now. But again, change them, move them, do whatever you need to make it functional for you. And so here's the little plus sign. So you're going to go over here to add new stage. And that is going to be able to add one. And so here I have my first one is social media leads. And so I can click here and put social media leads. And I'm just showing you guys how to create them right now. I'll go back to mine, so I'll show you what I utilize them all for. Then you'll click the second one, and you'll name your second stage. So mine is responded to initial invite. So I'll go over here, and I'll put responded to initial invite. And so I will do that throughout to add each stage that you want. And so if you want to add a stage that says ghosted, or maybe you want a stage that says talking to, or whatever, you know, just add as many stages as you want. If you want to get all fancy schmancy with it, you can, I'm sorry, everybody that isn't muted just gives me anxiety. Okay. So if you want to get fancy with it, then you can change the color. I like to, just because I like the way it looks. And so you'll go over here to this little like settings thingy-majig, and you can pick any color. So say I want to make that one pink. And you can color code whatever makes it pop out in your eyes the most. So now that you've got your stages, you have to work on your different filters down here. And so again, this is whatever that you want to track and you want to be able to manage. And so I am going to add the first one, which is name, and big pointer. When you are doing this, you need, and you have different pipelines. So say you're going to switch someone from a boot camp pipeline to a like a coach prospect pipeline. You need to make sure each of these stages are in the exact same order and spelt and done the exact same way, or it's not going to transfer between pipelines. And so then you won't have their name if you don't have it in the exact same spot, or you won't have their Instagram handle or whatever. So that is something I messed up at the beginning. And so you want to make sure that you have the exact same spelling, abbreviations, everything, so it transfers between pipelines correctly. Okay, so with that being said, so the first one I have is name. Then I have Instagram handle. And so how you add it is you add right here. And so I want Instagram handle to be a free form, so I can just type in their Instagram handle. So I will put free form in there. And it'll be IG handle. And then I like to move it over here next to the name because I search a lot by their Instagram handle. And then another one I will add is notes. And so you'll come over, oh, notes is already here. So I'll just move it over. Well, I don't really have to for this purpose. And then email addresses. I don't really add their emails, and I'll go into that here in a little bit, but it's a magic column. So the magic columns are something that gets pre-populated. And so whenever you send them an email, you'll attach it, and I will show you that too, but it'll pre-populate it for you. And so here's email addresses. And then let's see, days and stage follow-up. So here's another one is I want to follow up. So I'll do 2 follow-ups and then I'll move them to a different pipeline, which I know this is kind of confusing and I'll go back, but I want to show you how to add each of the stages. So the follow-ups, personally for me, I do a like a date. And so I'll go in there and I'll do follow up. And so with the follow-up, you can add the specific date to which you followed up. And that'll be like follow-up number 1. And then I'll do another date, and that'll be follow-up number 2. Something like that. And so that will help you to be able to follow up with them adequately. All right, anyone who's not muted, can you please mute yourself as you get on? Thank you so much. I just get so distracted by it. Okay, perfect. So that is how you add columns and add stages. Do we have any questions so far so I can answer them? Let me look in the chat real quick. No questions? Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to go back and tell you guys what each of mine are and why they're there. And so here is my pipeline for my bootcamp prospects. And so this is what I look at every single day to add them. So the social media leads, that is every single person that I send an invite to. And so like I said, I send a pretty hefty volume to them every day. And so I put every single one of those in there. And so you can see I get their name. And then I put their Instagram handle, and then I put like a note like sent initial invite. And so that will make sure that I know that I sent these invites to these people. I am currently putting every single one that I send in there, but might start changing that. But right now I put every single one I send in there. So on Instagram, sometimes you don't have their name, right? You just have an Instagram handle. So in those cases, I will put their Instagram handle in the name column and in the Instagram handle, so I can search it easily until I figure out their name. I don't fool with getting their email right now, so I can send them emails. just because I have found trying to transition them from Instagram to email, it can get kind of funny and they won't like it. And so I will just only put their email in there if I end up signing them up as client or something like that. And so that is what I do with the social media leads. The social media source, I put Instagram. This is another drop down. So I'll put if I got them from Facebook or email or something like that. And so I will be able to see, okay, this is where I got this person, so I know where to find them. Another thing is the days and stage. And so I like to have that so I know how long they've been sitting there. And so like if I've spoke to them about price, so I know this person that I spoke to about price has been in there for 42 days. I've talked to her literally every day since then, but that's a way that you know, okay, so these people have been in there for a while. I need to hit up these people first versus the other people. And so the next stage is, the follow-ups. So I like to do 2 follow-ups and then move them. And then what they're interested in here. So right now I've got Lift 4, BOD, or coaching because I'm not really promoting anything else. So mostly everybody is interested in Lift 4. And then I also have the date that they were created. So how long have they been in there? What day did I put them in here? Okay, perfect. So the next stage I have is responded to initial invite. So I just added this 3rd stage. So the 2nd stage is they responded to my invite and said, oh my gosh, yes, I'm interested. And then I send them another message and I explain, or I'm like, okay, great, I'm so glad you're interested. And have you ever heard of Beachbody on Demand, or what are some of your fitness goals, or something like that? And then they ghost me. And so I like to have a separate stage between responded to initial invite and establishing a relationship. And so the responded to initial invite is when they send that one message after. After we have sent 2+ messages after that initial invite, I move them to establishing a relationship. So this way I know these are the people that are super serious. They are interested and serious about starting this journey. We're conversating, we're talking goals and stuff like that. And so those are when they go there. Next pipeline or next stage I have is has BOD but interested in like switching. So say they have Beachbody on Demand, they signed up online and they have no idea who their coach is. And they are like, oh, but I really want a coach, or I really want, someone to help me in this journey. So I'll move them there as we're talking about doing a coach swap, if they want to do Lift 4 with us or anything like that. And so they'll go into that stage. The next stage is if I send them initial invite and they're like, oh, I have a coach. And I'm like, okay, cool, great. I'm so glad you have a coach. Or maybe they are a coach. I'll just move them on to that has a coach spot just to get them out of the way. And that's just so I can move them from social media leads to has a coach. And so I move every single time someone responds. And how you move, I keep saying this, is you'll go over here to stage, double click on it. And here's where you can change any of the stages that they are in. And so that's one way is like, so say Haley Stapleton responded to my initial invite. I double click and do this, move her over here. And then I would add a note. And so right here, which she has responded. So let me move her over here. So it responded to initial invite. So now she goes over here and I can maneuver her through and through there. And so the next one I have is spoke about price. Spoke about price is when you send that price to them, and sometimes they ghost you, sometimes not, but you know what stage they're in. And so all these people are the people that I have sent the price to. And so I will come in here and follow up with them. So as you can see, I sent price to Renee 0 days ago. So I know that I just sent it to her today. Or Tina, I sent it to her 24 days ago. And so I've already followed up with her once. So I know that I need to follow up with her again before I move her to a different pipeline. And so this way you can stay focused and know, okay, these people are a little bit closer to being closed. So let me talk to these people before I go back to following up with the established relationship people. My next one I have is asked for info to send link. And so how many times have we had someone where like, oh my God, yes, I want to do it. And you ask for all the info and then they ghost you because they were like, oh God, stuff's really getting real. And so here is where I have asked everybody for their info and they haven't sent it to me yet. And so, or I've asked them which option they want versus the loyalty versus the regular one. And they'll be sitting here until I send them the link. So as you can see, these people have not responded to that initial asking for stuff. So I followed up with them and they've been in here for quite a while. So I need to get them out of there. My next one I have is sent link. That means I've sent them the link and they haven't paid yet. I have tons of those. And so that means I know I need to follow up with these people, which I've done that. And so that means you don't lose and you have to go searching through ShareCart and stuff like that. You'll just keep moving them to this. So then after they've completed it, I move them over here. So that means I know I need to send them their welcome email. Now, I only send 2 follow-ups and then I move them to a different stage. And so here is where I sent 2 follow-ups and no response. And then I know those are like my cold leads that I can send each month after prior just an invite. And so here's where I move them all back. Then they say, okay, it's not a good time. Like maybe they are sick and they have to get better or they're moving or something like that. I'll move them to not a good time and set a follow-up in my daily planner. I will show you there's a way to set follow-ups here so you don't have to mess with a daily planner. I like that better because I schedule my day through that. I don't do well with too much electronics. So that's where you go from there. So I am going to see if anyone has any questions about what my stages are and then we'll move on. How do you set the date? How do you set the date for what? I have a question about the customers that have bought but are interested in Lift 4 and want to do Shakeology and join the boot camp. What is the best way to go about there? So we are their coach and everything. I'll talk to you about that later, Britt. That's not really streak related. Are you offering person streak lessons? Oh, so confused. I would have her. Okay, so no questions about that right now. So that is how I kind of maneuver these. And again, what might work for me might not work for you. And so you just got to find the stages that work best for you. And so there is all of my stages. So now I'm going to show you how to add notes to a stage, how to create one. So say someone sent you off of Instagram, you're like, all right, I can't attach it to an email, I need to create it. And so they've responded to your initial invite, and you're gonna go over here to this add new box. And so here's where you're going to put their name. So say it's Susie Sales, I don't know. And that is the person who responded. Then her Instagram handle is Totally Sue's 20. I don't know. So then you'll just come in here and add a note. I like to put the date so I know what day I have been talking to them. And so they responded to today. So I'll do 8/27. Responded to initial invite about challenge. I don't know, something short, sweet, to the point so you know. Then they will have decided, since you invited to them to Lift 4, they're interested in Lift 4. So I will double click Lift 4. You're not going to have these pre-populated in here because yours is going to be brand new. So you can just type in Lift 4 and create that option. And then their social media source. So where did you find them? Instagram. Perfect. So there is how you add it. So say you want to view all their information. You'll come over here to this little like mouse patty thingy. Click that. All right. So then you are going to see all of this goodness. And so here's where you'll see their Instagram handle, the first follow-up, the second follow-up, what they're interested in. So we said she was interested in Lift 4, and all the notes and all their days and stages and all that good stuff. You're not going to see emails and stuff because you haven't sent emails to this person. If you like electronic follow-ups, a great way to be able to have your it alerts you on your phone or anything is you can do follow up. So say Susie Sales doesn't get paid till next week. You will have a follow up and you can customize the follow up. So she doesn't get paid till 09/06/2018. And you want to follow up with her at whatever time. So then you'll hit set due date. So then that's going to alert you, oh, you need to follow up with Susie Sales because she's getting paid, and you get to follow up with her. If you're not a paper pen, you want to stay in this, it's super great. I like to be able to see it, so that works. So you'll set that follow up. That will ding and let you know, okay, great, Susie Sales is ready. So say, great, she's ready, and we send her a link. So then you can come, let me see here, up here to this stage and switch to whatever stage that she needs to be in now. So say you sent Susie Sales the link. Fantastic. Or say that Susie Sales is interested now in coaching, not the challenge group. You can move her to your coach prospects if you decide that you want to create one of those. All right, that is how you maneuver Susie all through there. Now, let me make sure I'm hitting everything. Show how to create new data. Okay, so say someone filled out your application online and you won't have to create that box for them. So let me find someone that's created an application so I can show you jot form. Perfect. Okay, so this person's filled out an application. Her name is Stacy. So what you can do is you'll go into your sent email box, click here, and it's going to have where you can add her to a box. So let me remove her. And you can see, so here is, they'll even have suggestions sometimes, but you're going to want to add her to Stacy. And there we go. So that's the way you'll add her. So her email will pop up with her box. So you can switch through anything else. It's amazing to have emails and be able to do this. I'll show you how I do my coach prospect or my boot campers because it's amazing. But again, not many people like to communicate through email and stuff like that. So we're going to go over here to coach prospect. So how I organize my coach prospects. So I send invites for like the coaching opportunity. And so here's where they'll start is, and you'll notice that these stages, or not the stages, but the titles are the exact same as my previous one. So they transfer successfully. So the first thing I have is initial message. Then I have forming a relationship. So that means I'm talking to them about coaching, why they'd be amazing at it, et cetera, et cetera. Then here's like if I gave them info on coaching. So maybe we're forming a relationship. We're not really talking about coaching yet, but now I'm giving them information on coaching. Then if I've invited them to a sneak peek, they sit here. Then they add themselves to the sneak peek. So this is why I know people are in my sneak peek so I can keep tabs on them, set follow-up, stuff like that. Then here's where I go if I sent a message from someone from my sneak peek. So say they've commented on a video and I've sent them a message to see if they're interested, or they voted on a poll in my sneak peek or something like that. Here's where they go. So I know I need to follow up with these people. And so here's this. And I do check boxes for follow-ups here. I don't really know why I changed that, but I did. And then the rest are the same. So ask for info to send link. Again, they're sitting there waiting for the info. Gave them the link to sign up. Here's where they've signed up. I've sent them the welcome email, and then they've completed the new Coach University. I've scheduled my initial one-on-one call with them, and then they're my current working coaches right now. I haven't really worked on this one much. It's overwhelming me right now, but this is the way I do it. All right, current bootcamp clients. Let me see in the chat. Okay, so how I added the different social media drop downs is you add them by their self. So let me come over here to my blank one. Okay, so for the drop downs, I will come over here and I'll have a tag. So a tag is what you social media leads. Let me add Susie. So here's where you'll add it. So you're going to have to add them at first and then they'll pop up. So Instagram, IG. Then here's where you'll create that drop down. Then you can add Facebook. So say you're communicating with them on 2 different platforms, Instagram and Facebook. With tags, you can have multiples of them. And then maybe you're contacting them on email. I don't know if they're all over the place. So then when you add the next person, so we add Bob. Bob, you're talking to on Instagram. So you'll double click here and it'll have IG already for you. So now Bob, you know Bob, you're talking to on Instagram. Okay, that answered that. Now here's where my current bootcamp clients go. I add emails in for every single one of them, and I will show you why, because it will change everything and help you connect with your boot campers on another level. Let me move this over. Well, all right, so here's all of my current bootcamp clients. This is where I just moved them over from all the other pipelines to here. So here's all my current Lift 4 boot campers. So I have their name, their Instagram handle, their email, what stage they're in, notes, date of last email. I have my Lift 4, my Summer Shred, which is all my random boot camps, which I not really doing right now. And then my inactive discount coaches, and then the ones that have canceled. So if they've canceled, I move them there. If they go inactive, I move them there. So then I know, okay, those are people I can reach out to try to bring back active, so I can kind of keep it all unjumbled in my head. So I'm going to show you guys something that changes the game with this. So how many of you guys have boot campers that you're like, all right, you need to send me your progress pictures, or you need to check in with me every Sunday, and they don't do it? And then you're like, it's so time consuming, especially if you're assigning high volume, to be able to move them and send them all messages individually. So here's the amazing part and why you want all their emails. You will do this. You'll click right here. That will select all of your amazing boot campers. You will come up here and you'll do something called a mail merge. A mail merge is like someone that's sending a newsletter that it doesn't show up like you're sending a mass email, but it'll send the same email to multiple individuals. This saves so much time, and you can add that special initiative to check in with them. And so every Sunday, I schedule a mail merge, which you can schedule it too, which is amazing. So here's where it is. And you can schedule it. So here's the timer. You can schedule it, and you'll say, check in, say, weekly Sunday check-in, and say, hey girl, so excited that you're joining me, or that you joined me. I am hoping that your first week went fantastic. I can't wait to catch up with you. How are you enjoying it? It's an amazing way, one, to get testimonials because you can guide the information they give you. Second thing, amazing way to make sure they give you your pictures. And then the third thing is it adds a personal touch, so they know that you're checking in with them every single Sunday. Does every one of them respond to the email? No, but you know that you're doing everything that you can to check in with them. And then every single one of them will start coming in, and then you can start establishing relationships with them as they come in. And so what you'll do is you'll just hit send to 75 or send to however many you have in there, and it'll send them all for you. All you have to do is type up this one message. Y'all, it has saved me so much time. All right, so those are all the different pipelines, how you send a follow-up. I know that was a lot of information, so I'm going to kind of backtrack a little bit and talk about methods. and how I organize my day through these pipelines. Before I do that, I do want to answer any of these questions or any questions that you do. Google Streak is absolutely free to anyone. There is a paid version. I don't pay for it. I have the free version and it's freaking amazing. I use JotForm. There's tons of other applications out there. How much does it cost? Free. Okay, perfect. So I don't see any questions. Are you guys just kind of overwhelmed? Or we have any questions? I just want to make sure I get all of that before I go through any other information. All right. Okay, perfect. So I don't see anything. So I'm going to go. So how I organize my day through these. And so I will go and decide which pipelines I want to work first. And so I'll sit down with my daily planner and I'll say, okay, I want to follow up with everybody that has inquired about the price. And so I'll go in there to Bootcamp Prospects. I'll go into Spoke About Price. And I'll go find them on Instagram. So here is Karina. I'll copy that. I'll pull up my Instagram and I'll send them a message and check in. So here's Karina. I mean, she's been ghosting me for quite a while. So then I will put here, follow up, and click it. And that'll tell me I followed up with her again on this date, which is today. This way, I know that I don't let anyone go unfollowed up. Now you're like, okay, so how do I know who stayed in the stages longer? So you can organize it by stages. So you can sort by lowest to highest. So if you want to see who's been in the stages the longest, that means they've been in that specific stage forever. So this person's been in this stage for 45 minutes because they never answered me and I followed up. 45 minutes, 45 days. And so here's where you can see who has stayed in longer and have it organized by that stage. And so you'll know, okay, great, I need to follow up with this person because they've been in here longer, or this person because they've been in there longer. Or you can send follow-ups from this if you set people invites. So say you sent them an invite on 7/31, I sent this person the initial invite, and I haven't heard anything from them. I can send them a follow-up this month and ask them if they want to join this month's boot camp. And so they will be able to, I'll be able to follow up with them, not have anyone falling through the cracks. Which y'all, I was having so many people falling through the cracks. So I'm going to stop the share and chat with you guys for a minute. So I was having so many people fall through the cracks. I was having so many people fall through the cracks and having them, you know, sorry, mom life, but I was not being able to follow up with them adequately. I'd be like, okay, so I see I started this person, but then I didn't know if I needed to follow up with them a month later or something like that. And so y'all, I know it's overwhelming. I know you're probably looking at me right now like, what did she just say? Is she even speaking English? But I'm telling you guys, it's going to be best if you just do it. If you take the time, rewatch this, it's recorded, I will post it, rewatch this, take the time to figure it out because it has changed my business. Last month, I hit Success Club 40. This month, only 2 things I've changed is one, getting my ass out of bed in the morning. I definitely recommend that. Not sleeping until 10 a.m., probably not the best idea. And then doing Google Streak, and I'm at Success Club 66 right now. And so it's all about managing your time, following up with these people, because how many of you guys, especially if you're kind of spacey like me, will look at a message and mind answer it? Be like, oh my gosh, I thought I answered it, but you literally are only answering it in your head and then back out of it. And we would never know to re-follow up with them if we did not have this streak. And so it's overwhelming. It's a lot. But y'all, if you take the time to go through it, if you take the time to look over it, if you take just an hour just to figure it out, or 2 hours just to figure it out and move on, then you are going to have an amazing follow-up system. I know a lot of you guys might be like, okay, my my business is not at this volume. Eventually, you're going to want your business to be at this volume. And so the best time to start is when you're not doing as much or inviting as many people or have as many boot campers or have, you know, as many follow-ups, because then it'll grow from there. And you're going to have those people a year from now that you can follow up with because they're all in your CRM, which is your customer, you know, management system. And so I just urge you, just take the time, figure it out one Sunday or one Saturday, because Saturdays are slow in the Beachbody world. Take it on a Saturday, figure it out. Don't move everything over. Whatever system you have right now, you don't need to move it over. You don't need to, but just start moving forward. All right. I want to see if anyone has any other questions before we end this. You guys can unmute yourself if you have anything for me. I'm going to go ahead and stop